Okay, I think it's recording, and I turned my...
Yeah?
Hi, I'm Phil Hunter.
I turned my input or output down.
You're too damn loud.
Well, I get really close to the mic too, like this.
Would you turn it down?
I hope I get a medal of freedom for doing this podcast someday. No?
Too soon, Phil. It's too soon. No.
Wrong. You're listening to episode 34 of Time to Leave and Here's a Song with Phil and John, or John and Phil. And John. Also with more Phil. Phil and John talking.
Have you ever seen clips of, we're talking about, of course, Rush Limbaugh getting the Congressional or Presidential Medal of Freedom, or whatever it's called.
That's right.
God. All right. I'm mixing my Republicans here.
Yeah, right up there with like Rosa Parks and Mother Teresa and...
Yeah, of course.
God. Well, Rush is a saint to people like Trump. So we're getting political, and that's fine. We can't help it today, probably.
No. No, he uses a gold-plated microphone.
Oh,
when
man.
he records.
Yeah.
Because when you're a star.
Yeah.
You get or star in the music business, you see these gold-plated microphones.
Well, yeah, maybe like a rap star, right?
Yeah, I definitely see that with rap recording artists or
which
R&B.
I think based on some things that Rush has said in the past, he wouldn't want to be associated with rap stars, but I don't
Probably not.
I guess everything's fair game now, John.
Yeah, we might as well
we can say whatever we want. Gold mic drop.
Gold mic drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I took today off from work so I could be here to have my home appraised.
Appraised.
Yeah, he had a lot of praise for it.
Did he like that well in the basement?
He didn't even notice that. I feel kind of cheated, especially because it was $500.
Oh, for the cap or whatever.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. That stuff actually only matters when you sell it. But refinancing, sure. If I believe my junk mail should happen every 2 months or something. You should refinance today. What I just did. No, this is so boring. So we decided to refinance because rates have dropped, blah, blah, blah. Everybody does this.
Not me. I live in the rafters of Phil's garage.
And
yeah.
A day or two after we start the process, which, everything is done online. I'm not sure we ever meet our loan officer in person or anything like that. It's all done over email or electronic signatures.
Heck, for a while there, the appraisals were almost.
It almost could be. They just send a drone to your house and it cruises around and looks menacing. You don't fuck with the drone.
Just say, Alexa, please do a home appraisal. And
yeah, somebody's Amazon Echo just lit up when you said that, Phil.
Does that activate it?
Just the word.
Oh God, darn it! I'm sorry.
Just most of them are hey such and such, but the Amazon one I think is just you say the A word.
The A word.
I don't know if I don't have one, so.
Okay, well from now on we'll just say the A word instead of
the A word. Hey asshole.
Well, what if we had a guest on? This name was.
I actually have a coworker who has a kid named Siri.
Oh no!
How irritating that must be for that kid. She just must get so pissed.
Oh, I hope she can get her voice like that someday.
Yes?
And there's probably even more A words.
I think I interrupted your train of thought there. You got your house appraised and it's all not even in person anymore. Anything is.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm doing all this stuff, and as if by magic, I start getting phone calls and mail and stuff from these other companies who want to refinance my mortgage.
Yeah, The last time we
they
refinanced,
know
we started
it
getting
isn't
stuff.
just the normal. I usually get junk mail all the time, like saying your loan can blah blah blah. No, this is we know you are refinancing your mortgage.
Yeah, they sold the information.
Stop it and let us do it. So I'm kind of interested to see how
it was Facebook.
It probably was. Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg left me a robocall saying,
Robozuck.
"Hi John, I'm Mark Zuckerberg. Would you
Robozuck.
refinance with Facebook Mortgage.com?"
Hey, that actually sounds like him. Maybe Mark Z could be the narrator someday.
But it will give you a good rate, but you have to paint your house blue.
And give me 50 likes.
That's right. Oh, speaking of Siri, my timer is going off because my pasta is done. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. And oh, by the way, I'm in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hey, Siri, stop.
Siri, stop.
Siri, how are you today?
I'm going to translate what I think John is saying. He says something about a power duvet. Maybe he should run his ice machine again. That's always a hit on the show. Oh, okay. I know what I'll do. I'll start talking about some of the comments we've had. We had a little bit of a backlog. I haven't been referencing the comments we've been getting for a while, and I apologize to all our faithful listeners. This one I may have said before, but Jessica M. said, you should interview kids more often. That's a really old one. I haven't interviewed a kid. That was back in 2018 when I interviewed.
He's not a kid anymore.
No. Well, I'm just going through. I started to go through some of the comments while you were gone.
That's a good use of time. Yeah.
And then we'll get back to the home refinance. Oh God, I can't even say it. And Sean C. I think all of our listeners remember Sean. He was a guest and always a good person. Okay, this I don't remember what episode this was, but he says one of my favorite shows, mostly because John sang a lot. Was that the Vesper one? Maybe, I don't know. Okay, so basically we had a weird Skype incident where I think Siri or Alexa must have messed up our.
I went to unmute and I ended the call.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I was talking about comments, and Sean had said one of my favorite. I don't remember this one. They said one of my favorite shows. I don't remember which episode this was. I mean, mostly because John sang a lot. Was that the Vesper one? I don't know.
Must have been because I was drunk.
You don't normally sing on the podcast. Though the comparison, well, Sean liked it. Though the comparison of my voice to Noel on the Great British Baking Show was also entertaining. And then, let's see, Connie C. a month later said, Connie is Sean's wife. Oh, they both live in St. Paul. Sean couldn't mug up, but we did grab Taco John's for his dinner while we tried to catch up. Curtis P. from Rapid City, one of our newer listeners. Hello, Curtis. Welcome. Loving the podcast. I would definitely buy a Time to Lean serving tray. I'm trying to remember what episode that was, too. Was that the Heather one? I think she mentioned... Oh, yeah. Yep. No, because she was talking about the serving tray thing with the Halloween costume. And
yes,
somehow
you're right.
We got on the Lawrence Welk.
She and her friend were doing that. Yes.
GGV.
GG.
And then, thank Evan. So then, can you do that musical anymore? I don't know. Oh, David D. Commented on our most recent one. Nice. I especially liked the mating whales, wandering euphoniums at the end. And I really...
That was unintentional. I have to, the whale sound, my
I loved
lip
it.
Was completely gone by that time because I don't play the instrument really
You're just
these
not
days,
in
so
practice.
5 minutes was about all I had, and I just kind of went for it.
And then Greg added his euphonium, and it was it did have kind of. I was thinking of whale sounds, but whale songs. Okay. There's the comments. Anyway, thanks everyone, and I'll mark those as having that we
Good.
commented. We commented on their comments. I try to keep track of everything. I'm very organized. Oh, boy, I don't know what you were talking about. Were you? You were still talking about.
Oh, I was
right?
done. There wasn't
okay.
much else. I was just marveling at the fact that everybody seemed to know.
Oh yes.
You kind of expect that, they check your credit and all that crap. Everybody knows about that. The whole thing where they knew I was refinancing already. So they must do some kind of disclosure or something like that. I'm not sure why. So I'm kind of curious about that. If anybody knows,
is anybody in the home
chime in and
refinance industry,
let us
the
know.
banking industry, and you can divulge your
or
secrets?
I think I could probably get the loan officer to tell me, but it'd be more fun to hear it from a random person on Facebook.
And we'll comment about your comments. I just kind of assumed the bank sold the information and to get a little extra money, even though it might mean they might lose the loan. But I could be wrong. Because in a way that doesn't make sense. But
Yeah, you'd think that would, counterproductive, but
well, somewhere along the line, somebody makes extra money on that by selling it. Maybe it's not the bank. So other than Rush getting a much deserved Medal of Freedom to say batshit things. I swore. Now we have to put an E on this one. I have to say I listened to Mitt Romney's speech earlier, and it was. I have to take back everything I said about Mitt Romney. I mostly it was joking because he was kind of awkward. I'm not going to take back my vote. I would still have voted the way I did, but I didn't think he would be a good president at the time, but the bar's gotten a little lower. A lot. I wonder who he'd give the congressional or the presidential Medal of Freedom to. Not Rush Limbaugh. But I just appreciate his integrity. I mean, in the old days I was making fun of him a lot, and the Binders of Women thing. It just seems so quaint now. We've come so far.
it's amazing. Yeah.
We've come so far down the pike or whatever, the sewer, I guess. It's now it's now the Trump party.
I kind of, I agree with you. I'm a little surprised, but not totally surprised, since he tended to have a little bit of an independent streak, and he's not dead.
Not yet. He's probably going to get some death threats.
Well, he's already been threatened with being drummed out of the Republican Party by Don Jr. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, okay.
But they'll say about him, he on one hand, yes, it demonstrates integrity, and I'm glad he did it. He gets a lot of respect for that. On the other hand, he is almost unique in that he's in a position where he can get away with it, because he doesn't really have a lot to lose. I don't think being in the Senate is his end all be all.
No,
he probably isn't going to run for president again.
I don't know.
He doesn't. He's rich enough. He does not have to go be a lobbyist or otherwise have that kind of career ahead of him when he leaves the Senate. He doesn't have a lot of bridges to burn in his party at this point.
Yeah.
And I think he probably thinks, rightly so, I hope, in the long run, he will be rewarded by many people for that decision.
I don't know. Utah is a different kind of conservative state, for various reasons. But I know at least one never Trumper conservative there. And they're traditional. I think, what did you call it? What was the phrase? Republican classic or something?
Yeah. That's I didn't come up with it, but
no.
I think kind of the old George H.W. Bush Republican, or what we used to call country club Republicans, that were not quite so batshit about the social issues.
Yeah.
And we're much more into the economic and more libertarian leaning in a lot of ways, especially about taxes and individual liberties and all that stuff. And this is not something I want to devote a lot of time to here, because it's all like nothing you haven't heard before. So.
Well, and preaching to the choir, I suppose.
It's pretty much that way. It's fine, but good for him, and let's see how it goes.
He just might get some
who,
bonuses from it in his state. I don't know. Utah's interesting.
Yeah, he might get rewarded. He also doesn't have to run for re-election this year, so he's in a good spot.
He's got time to.
I think he's got at least 2 more years.
I mean, what if the Republican Party decides to say, you're not a real Republican anymore? Then he's an independent, I guess, or something. I don't know.
He could go independent like Justin Amash did in Congress, the guy from, Michigan, I think. And apparently he's raised a lot of money ever since he did that. So it'll be interesting politically. I mean, I tend to follow politics like other people follow football or something like that.
Yeah.
So I find the races very interesting and things like that. So yes, I'm curious to see how this pans out for him. He could turn independent and still win re-election in his state. I think that's possible.
Sure.
There is also a guy who ran for president as an independent in 2016. I forget his name offhand, but you can look him up, I'm sure.
Perhaps John means Evan McMullen. I don't know. But the thing about Evan McMullen was he some kind of CIA guy. And that's the deep state. And that deep state is scary.
He was kind of one of these younger former military guys who was a never Trump type, and he definitely got a little bit of exposure, and I think he actually did pretty well in his home state of Utah. But it's interesting.
Yeah, Utah's unique.
I like to hold out some hope that there is room somewhere for independence without them just being Nader-like spoilers.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, the whole problem is the nature of our two-party system really shuts that down and doesn't leave room for it. So
and perhaps other issues.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
So that's good. We can leave it there, I think.
Thanks, Mitt.
That's fine.
Give him the Congressional Medal of the Caucus.
Give him the Time to Lean Medal of
Mitt Romney.
Something. Mitt Romney.
Congratulations, Mitt Romney, for the Time to Lean 2020 award for not being a dingleberry.
With that, what do you got in your glass tonight,
John? It's just ice.
We waited too long last time. It upset our audience.
I didn't mention that. Oh, well, I think he was kidding. Matt P. Hi, Matt.
Cut that out.
It's just ice now. I was feeling a little on the cheaper side, and I've been enjoying the Jim Beam Rye or the Jim Beam Black or the Jim Beam Extra Aged Oak, whatever. And so I thought, I don't remember having just regular Jim Beam. Maybe it's okay, and it's a little less expensive. Although I probably
white label Jim Beam.
Yeah, the regular.
Okay.
Classic.
Yep.
I've been spoiled by the other whiskeys I've had over the years. It was a little bit. It is a little bit. Harsher, I guess you'd say. It's not quite as. Smooth.
Yeah, it's much younger whiskey. It's probably 2 years old, the minimum, I think.
Oh, it's just not. I tried. I was like, well, I'll make a Manhattan with it, but it's still kind of cut through. But if you have a couple, it's okay. But.
You just lose your taste buds and it evens out. It's okay.
I'm guessing you have something more interesting.
I don't know. What is good at that price point? Besides, Evan Williams is still okay, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. See, I guess I'm the Time to Lean bottom shelf expert, but of whiskey. No, there. Sometimes you can find old Granddaddy bonded. That's okay.
Yeah,
in a lower price
more
point.
Often than not, I see that stuff around $24 for a liter.
Oh, really? For a while there, I was seeing it less, but maybe it's gone.
I think the word got out on that stuff because it's gone up a little bit. It's not as good of a bargain.
Yeah, that's the problem with these things.
Was.
Maybe we shouldn't be talking about whiskey because
right.
We can't even get Eagle Rare anymore after we talked about it before.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Yeah, I don't really see it these days. And the last time I saw it at my local place, it was like $50 or something crazy like that. It's
I
not
saw
worth
it. No, I saw it for $64. I'm not going to pay that. I'm not going to pay that for Eagle Rare. I like it, but when it was like, what was I getting it for? 29, I guess. But
yeah, $30 is a good price for that. Maybe 35. Beyond that, there's stuff that's as good or better.
Do you think the mid range is falling out a little bit? There seems like there's the low range and then the high range, and I always try to skirt around the middle there. I'm wondering if that's falling out a little bit. I don't know. I guess I'm not a liquor store expert, but
yeah, I don't know. I have no information about that. I just what I see when I shop. And one thing I've learned from reading a lot on the internet, where all knowledge is,
fake booze.
Is that booze pricing varies a lot from state to state.
Yeah.
And it's not all taxes. I think some of it is, but the distribution tends to be different.
Oh, yeah. It's not even from state to state. They have regions.
Yeah. So the distribution patterns and other things that go on make prices quite different.
Because in this area, I don't see a lot of Jim Beam Black.
In your local stores?
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to. I mean, my locals always have it, and of course the big chains. Yeah, Jim Beam is of course one of the biggest bourbon makers in the world.
Sure.
I think they might produce the most volume, probably followed by Heaven Hill and Buffalo Trace. Those are kind of the big ones, and they produce a lot of spirit. The thing about Jim Beam, of course, is they do have a flavor profile that is kind of similar on up the line from the white label that you're drinking up through like Knob Creek and some of the other higher end stuff, or even like the super boutique stuff like Booker's, if you've ever seen that one.
Yeah, sure.
That it comes in a Old West style coffin. I don't know.
I was looking at that yesterday.
It comes in a wooden box. Yeah, and it's this barrel proof, just a blunt instrument of flavor that hits you, and they produce these small batches of it. It's really astonishing stuff.
Blunt instrument of flavor.
It's too much. It's just ridiculous. It's like 65% or something like that alcohol.
Ooh, yeah. Good morning.
It's anyway. That's also Jim Beam.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, what are you drinking? I should probably get some more pretty soon.
Jim Beam? No.
I guess. You're not.
I am drinking. I'm drinking single malt whiskey from New Zealand.
Oh, that's right. Matt P. brought it over.
Yep, he and his lovely wife brought me back this bottle of Thompson, spelled without a P, ironically. It's a whiskey.
No P.
It does not have an age statement on it, so I don't know exactly how old it is. I have a feeling it's on the younger side.
Yeah.
But it is a single malt, so it's a malted barley whiskey, but it's finished in red wine barrels.
The red wine barrels. Okay.
I'm trying.
I don't know if I've heard of that before. I've heard of like cognac barrels or.
Yeah. So it looks from the label, it was aged in American white oak, so AKA bourbon barrels, which is what most Scotch is aged in.
Sure.
And then they probably put some of the time in former red wine barrels as well.
Right.
And this one's called the Two-Tone Release.
Okay.
So I gather this is a whiskey that is, or an outfit that has not been around a super long time in that country. So it's more similar to American malt whiskeys that are being made.
Which is probably going to be a newer thing. I don't know. Maybe that'll catch on. Is that going to be a trend?
Yeah. So,
or is it already?
The whiskey is very nice. It has kind of a youthful. I don't want to diss it because it's actually very nice, but it doesn't have a ton of depth like a much older Scotch does. But it's definitely got a lot of fruit and some grain notes going on, and of course the wine flavor is very strong.
Interesting.
Especially on the smell.
Well, I hope to try it.
So yeah, I'll try and hold on to it for you. It doesn't look like it's got any fake color in it, which is cool.
Fake color.
So it's very nice, and thank you again for bringing it back, because as far as I know, I don't think you can get it here.
Thank you, Matt P. and Rebecca P. The Kiwis should be aged in kiwi barrels.
Kiwi. So kiwi juice. So you can make wine out of kiwi.
Well, you can make,
can't you?
Alcohol out of any. You can make alcohol out of any thing that has sugar in it, I guess. Right.
One of the things, speaking of New Zealand, that as long as we're talking about it, is when I was there in the early 1990s.
Which you had said in a previous episode you were going back, but that fell through for various reasons.
Yeah, we had to postpone, and I think we're going to end up going back sometime early in 2021.
All right.
But
now we'll all go. We'll do a podcast from there.
Yeah, we'll all do a podcast. When I was there, we found, and I don't remember where we got it, but this sweet wine that was called Purple Death.
Why does that sound familiar?
Because there's still the bottle of it is still in my mom's house.
Oh.
My dad held on to it.
Purple Death.
Purple Death, an unusual roughest guts aperitif that has the distinctive bouquet of horseshit and old tram tickets. It is best drunk with the teeth clenched to prevent the ingestion of any foreign bodies. Connoisseurs will savor the slight tannin taste of old tea leaves and burnt cat fur. Possessors of a cultivated palate will admire the initial assault of the taste buds, which comes from the careful and loving blending of animal manure and parachute jock straps strained through an old miner's sock. The maturing in small pig's bladders gives it a very distinctive nose. Marketed under the Savior brand, and 9 out of 10 people who drink it for the first time exclaim, "Jesus Christ!" Caution, keep away from naked flames, both old and new.
Anyway, it's this dessert wine that is kind of tacky.
Well, all right. I look forward to it.
And
Maybe
apparently,
not.
though, I half jokingly sent a picture of it to Matt and said, "Hey, if you see this, let me know." And sure enough, you can still get it.
Oh, wow. Oh, strange. Well, maybe it's like it must be good for something. It's good for what ails you. It's like medicine.
Exactly.
It's good for after a long day of putting out fires. But that wasn't New Zealand, and that's also too soon.
No, and of course, what New Zealand is most known for in the alcohol realm is their wine. There's lots of good New Zealand wine.
That's right. But in Purple Death, they're not known for.
And in Purple Death.
Time passes.
Good enough for us.
The A-team. Now,
Are you drinking Manhattan or just rocks?
Just the rocks.
Okay.
I've been doing that more. I've been doing that more often with. Now we'll just talk about this. I've been
It's
doing
more
that.
fun to talk about booze.
I've been doing that more often lately. Just the whiskey on the rocks and not making cocktails. Although I've had a martini a couple days ago. But yeah, all right. I don't know.
I don't know what to tell you.
Do you have your New Zealand on the rocks?
No, I'm doing that out of the snobby, fancy Glencairn glass.
Right out of the bottle. No.
Yeah, that's how my brother used to drink Jimbo. Okay, it was one night.
I think that's probably how you need to drink Purple Death.
Straight out of the bottle.
So you didn't get to go to New Zealand. That's sad.
Yeah, we could go sooner, but of course we
They're not
want to
gonna
go
be there.
when it's warm down there and it's cold here. So
Yeah.
the flights are significantly more expensive during the high season, which runs sometime in December through March, because that's when it's really nice to go there. And
Right,
not
because that's
wintertime.
their summer.
Yeah, and so the flights actually get a lot more expensive, and so that's the bummer.
Do their toilets also flush the other way around?
Of course they do. And all the people have large, hairy feet.
Oh. they're not hobbits.
No, that wasn't even. It was invented. It was English. That's not New Zealand.
It was filmed there, though.
New Zealand appropriated Lord of the Rings from England.
Well, it was some kind of Hobbitix Brexit tokenix. I don't know. Token X. I don't know. Bexix.
Tolkienix exit. No. Oh, I should just do whale sounds on my euphonium. That'd be better than this shit. Okay. We're gonna do one topic. We're gonna finish off 80s TV.
Okay, because we had talked about that before.
We talked about cartoons. I don't think we really talked about TV, like live action stuff that we liked in the 80s. I think it's not going to be a very long list.
Well, I remember Dukes of Hazzard. I mean,
that's the big one. When did that show start? Was that really more of a 70s show?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm sorry, I just have to.
I remember it's got to be 80s. It's not that old, John. Is it?
It started in 79.
Really? Oh,
It's
it's still
80s.
that's
7 seasons. Holy shit. I
yeah.
can't believe that show went for 7 years.
I'm sure it just got better and better.
Well, of course, does that include the later ones where the main cast all left and they had other
they
cousins?
had a couple other cousins showed up.
that
wow.
suspiciously looked kind of like Tom Wopat and that other guy.
I wonder what the story is behind that. I wonder if they wanted too much money, so they just replaced them with-
Probably. They probably had a non-existent movie deal they were trying to do.
I think as long as Roscoe Pico Chico is still on
Well,
there.
he left too, didn't he?
Oh, and then his cousin showed up. Why didn't they just have a show called Cousins, and I could do a spin-off?
Or mercifully, it's been a long time since I've seen one. But
Boss Hog.
and then didn't Boss Hog leave at some point too?
No, and then his cousin showed up. There was a real skinny
cousin.
Boss Higgins or something.
Boss Frog. Spelled with 2 G's.
Or CEO.
AKA Daddy Longlegs.
CEO Frog.
CEO, Senior Frog. Yeah, no.
No.
I'm free associating there, you boys.
Oh, I blame the New Zealand whiskey. Well, of course, my brothers and I used to like
It is
the eighth.
down south, after all.
We used to watch the A-Team a lot. Oh, back to Dukes of Hazzard real quick, though. I'm actually related to Catherine Bach.
Yeah, you told us that like 2 episodes.
Every other episode. I'm going to say it every other episode
Okay, you
because
gotta milk that one. Yeah.
I'm related to a famous person, or what? Infamous? No, but yeah. Well, she's like I don't know, second cousin something. Okay, her real name was Catherine Bachman. Catherine Bachman, and I'm related to the Bachmans. My grandma's.
Seriously?
My great-grandma's sister or something. And then her family went off there. Okay, so there.
Wow.
And then the A-Team, that was a good show. Probably doesn't hold up.
I have to admit, I never watched the A-Team.
You didn't get into the A-Team? Oh,
No,
we used to watch that.
I don't remember why.
There was probably, I think you were probably watching Battle of the Network Stars or something. It was. Remember that?
I missed a number of very significant 80s shows for.
What were you doing? You probably were practicing. You weren't practicing.
I probably thought I was definitely not practicing. Just ask my mom.
Let's have her as a guest. Deb K from RC.
I was probably just watching Betamax recorded Star Trek episodes.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. I was no Eric S., but...
Who is?
Eric, before we had VCRs, would actually put a tape recorder up to the TV speakers and record the sound.
My wife Jody did that too with some of her favorite shows. I never thought of that.
I think one year I did that with Charlie Brown Christmas for some reason. I remember having a tape of that, and that's probably why I remember it so well.
Yeah.
and can probably recite half of it. Phil, you need involvement. Christmas is a racket. It's run by this Eastern Syndicate, you know.
Oh. Yeah. What? That's a vague... Was that an anti-Jewish thing? No, I think that doesn't make sense.
No, it was... the thing I've heard is that it was a joke that the publisher of the Peanuts comic strip was called something Syndicate.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
United Feature Syndicate, I think. Yeah.
So you didn't watch Battle of the Network Stars, like Harry?
No, I'm sure I was too stuck up to watch that.
Oh, what was that other one? Real People. Oh, that was one with Fran Tarkin. No, maybe.
I think these are all 70s shows, Phil. Why don't you talk about the Rockford Files or Columbo?
No, I was the one person that watched St. Elsewhere religiously.
No, yeah, that was later 80s, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a little bit later. I don't know why I didn't see. I think I watched Mork and Mindy.
Oh, yeah. Right. That was a good one.
That's early 80s. I'm sure I would remember more, but I don't know what I was doing.
Happy Days.
I was playing D&D.
Yeah, okay.
I saw Happy Days. I watched that somewhat. It really, again, old people stuff, but it really depended on the schedule, on what night of the week it was on and what else was going on in our lives at the time. So one of the big shows I never watched was Moonlighting.
Oh, yeah.
That's a show, right? Yeah, okay. Which was really big, but I think it was because it was on Tuesday nights. And by the time I was in junior high, for sure, I was already going to orchestra rehearsal, which was also that night.
Sure.
So I was just not home.
There was one show, it was by the people that did Airplane and stuff, but Police Squad. And that was only like 6 episodes or something. It was almost
I completely missed Police Squad and its run, but I think a lot of people didn't because I think it was just run over a summer or something, and it didn't get really big until after.
Well, I made sure to watch that, but there was one day I think I was collecting on my paper route or something. And
that's a good topic.
I missed one of the episodes, and that may have been before we had a VCR or whatever. And I was like, but yeah, I know I love that show.
I and most people probably caught up with that when they'd rerun it on cable.
Yeah, and then they'd do like a marathon.
Yeah, Comedy Central would run it or something.
The Police Squad Marathon.
I love Police Squad. Yeah, it's classic. Anything else from the 80s TV that you... SCTV, of course.
Well, right, we've talked about that.
We've talked about that.
SNL had a terrible 80s period. Fridays, I watched a little bit, but I didn't get that. The announcer just died a while ago, the announcer for Fridays. He was also he was in, he was a character in that show with Andy Griffith and Don Knotts. There's a tie-in. And it was a show? Yeah, that's right. Why didn't they have a Don Knotts show ever? Maybe they did. The 80s was another period where they had a lot of these like variety shows, right?
So I always associate that with the 70s, but
no,
it might be a late 70s, early 80s.
You're right.
For example, the original Muppet Show was a variety show with guest stars and all that stuff.
And I associate that with the 80s.
Kind of. Yeah,
was that 70s?
Crossover, I think.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe. No, it was probably 70s. Because I remember watching whatever day that was on, I watched that and Jacques Cousteau.
Yep.
That was my... that was 70s.
Now okay.
Fine.
Okay, but that topic is done. We buried it.
We'll get some good music for that.
Yeah.
Topic checklist removed.
Yeah, I think next time I'll talk about my home stereo buying observations.
All right. Did you go to Best Buy?
No. Actually, I did. I didn't buy anything there, though.
Oh, see, you went there to look at the stuff, and then you bought it somewhere else.
I did no. That's actually not right. That's called showrooming, where you go there and you buy it.
There's
on
a word
Amazon.
for that. I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know how to word.
No, it is. A friend of mine works at a local music store, and he says people do that at his store all the time, even though the price at the local store will be as good or better than like Amazon.
Ah, how annoying!
But they'll still because they're so conditioned to I have to buy it on Amazon, they do it there and not buy it locally, which I think is just nuts. I mean, and they actually, it's not like they are too lazy to go to the store. They go to the store.
They already went to the store.
And they look at the thing, the guitar, the drum set, or whatever they're buying, the keytar. Then they go home and buy it on Amazon.
Well, even if it was a little bit more at the local store, I still, because recently I bought a dryer. I bought a dryer at, well, I guess you can't get that on Amazon. Maybe you can. But they price match and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
This guy said, yeah, we price match or beat the online prices.
And then you would get it right away instead of waiting for the shipping.
Yeah, so I actually did go and look at stuff. So I don't want to get into it tonight because
No, we already did.
It's a long topic.
This is a teaser for an upcoming episode.
It is, or you can avoid it if you don't want to hear about it.
Oh no!
Maybe I'll put Lynn on speakerphone while we're doing it.
Okay. He'll ask for weird sounds. All right. Lynn is a different kind of audiophile. He appreciates all sorts of high quality weird sounds.
Yeah, he is an old school super audiophile, likes high end equipment, and even though I suspect he can't hear a lot of high frequencies, since we all lose that part of our hearing as we get older, but
he was the one that introduced us to the sweet spot.
Yeah, I got much more into audiophile stuff when I was in college and after I got to know him, and I heard some really cool stuff.
Well, I remember listening when I lived my little stint in Laramie, Wyoming. He'd say, okay, sit right here. I had never experienced that before with a stereo. I mean, I've had headphones or something. I know I wasn't listening to the highest quality stuff probably either, but or equipment. But yeah, it's really weird if you get right in the right spot. It's really, really cool. I don't know how to explain it.
It's actually not something that it's not the same as listening on headphones.
No, it isn't.
Because the room interacts with what you're listening to with the speakers. And of course the thing that Lynn at the time had these speakers that the stereo image didn't really work unless you sat in this exact spot.
You had the sweet spot. You had to sit in the right exact spot.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, most speakers sound pretty good if you're just generally in between them, but these were just bizarre in that they, unless you it's like you locked in your ears or something, and then all of a sudden it opened up.
That's the way to describe it. Yeah,
it's strange.
Oh, that was really kind of cool though. Yeah, because it was way. I don't know. You think with headphones you could capture that somehow, but it wasn't the same thing. Well,
anyway, a lot of things have changed, of course, since then.
Yeah.
But as I found out when I was buying stereo equipment, a lot has not changed. So there is your preview.
Oh, so maybe we just start talking about that now and then put it on later. No, okay, I don't know.
No, hardball is about on.
Oh, we got to cut off for hardball. Yeah, I saw some posts about that with, hey, Mitt Romney grew a pair. I'm getting kind of tired. I'm getting kind of tired of the balls analogies, even though I, often reference Chris Matthews and his particular balls, but it's fun.
I think what everybody's curious about now is what kind of shitstorm he is going to be in for. Because
Mitt?
Trump is not going to let this go lightly.
Oh, but he won.
We'll see.
He
well, yeah, of course he did, but it still
he
makes
didn't
him
win
look
enough.
Because
he didn't win enough.
And actually, a couple of the people that voted to quote him basically said, "Yeah, he screwed up." did
Yeah.
wrong stuff. I just don't think he should be thrown out. And
Yeah.
that is not great. But I just sorry to get back into this again. I just find it really hilarious that any of these people think that he is going to be restrained by this whole thing. If nothing else, I think he's on the phone with Vlad right now asking for
what should
whatever.
I do? I don't know.
Yeah,
or a favor.
Can you do this? I heard that. I heard this Pete is kind of a fucker. Go after him.
Yeah, whoever's on top now.
God,
that didn't. I don't know whether he's a top or a bottom. That's none of my business. Did you see that? That Iowa caucus lady interview? She voted for Pete, and then she found out that he was gay, and she was disgusted.
Really?
Yes, she was disgusted and trying to get her vote to redo her vote or something. I didn't watch it because I just didn't want to hear that
funny.
kind of thing.
I just think that it's funny that somebody that goes to the trouble to do Iowa the caucus
and is a Democrat.
Yeah, doesn't already know this. That's funny.
Not only is it a surprise, but why is that an issue if you're voting in the Democratic caucus? You're disgusted?
Oh.
Maybe she was a Republican. And I don't know. Trying to muck things up. But speaking of politics, I guess we could get into South Dakota politics a little bit. There have been different things. Of course, South Dakota tries to pass, some people in South Dakota tried to pass the weirdest, I call it batshit bullshit. I copyrighted that. And these weird laws to just try to get attention or something. I can't, although maybe they'll get passed in South Dakota. Anti-gay, anti-trans, everything.
Often abortion is a big one with them too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that there's some kind of political group out there that's helping states like legislatures like South Dakota. But on a side note, lead in, Rapid City is facing a referendum. I think it's called voters are going to go to the polls on whether or not to fund schools. And I think the last one went through about 40 years ago was the last time they tried to ask for money for schools. And in South Dakota,
it should be enough. 40 years ago should have been.
Yeah. I mean, we have referendums that in my city or my school district we've had smaller ones on a fairly regular basis. I mean, every few years. They're little smaller ones that might have got voted down because of people that don't have children anymore or something, or don't understand how investment in your communities work. But they voted down because they're on a fixed income or something, they say. And they don't want their taxes raised 18 cents a year. But so we had some that lost some voting referendums, but then they'd come back later and they'd be more because these you can't just defer maintenance forever. And so it's like, to me, when I heard that Rapid City hasn't had one of these kind of things in 40 years, I was like, not surprised to hear that some of the schools are having some issues. And including one of my former, I think it sounds like one of the worst examples is South Junior High, where I went to junior high in Rapid City. I don't know, leaks and all kinds of things.
Yeah, it sounds like the building is really dilapidated and needs to be replaced.
It probably wasn't in great shape right after they built it. It probably was really cheap.
Was built just after World War II. And maybe not that well.
And now that I think about it, a few years ago, I went through my memorabilia and I kept some things, and one of them was the South Junior High. We were the South Junior High Rebels, and the little guy was I think it was like a Confederate guy, now that I think about it.
Yeah, you're right.
And I've joked over the years, with some of these bills that South Dakota tries to pass, they're trying to put the South back in South Dakota, but I mean, it isn't really funny. But especially, I don't know, that anti-LGBT stuff is really getting to me, and I God bless everyone that's whether maybe you don't want to be blessed by God, but positive thoughts to anyone out there that stayed in South Dakota that is of alternative lifestyle or just whatever, not Judeo-Christian something or other from somebody else's label. And they're fighting this stuff. A lot of people have just left, because they can't live there because of various reasons. I appreciate the people that are still there and they're fighting this stuff because it's crap. It's absolute crap. And but anyway, on a lighter note, John and his brother Bruce, his half brother, Bruce is only half a person. He gets around on a little wagon. He's just an upper torso. No, that's not true. John and Bruce went to Rapid City to do a. Do you want to talk about it a little bit what you did, or we just roll the tape? You're not even still there. John left.
I had myself muted again. I didn't end the call this time, at least. But
I was going on a diatribe, and you said, "Screw that."
No,
I'm going to go play at the ice machine.
No, Bruce and I visited a few of the schools in Rapid City. Unfortunately, South Junior High was not one of them. I'm sorry, South Middle School.
Yeah,
but
it's always South Junior High.
It was a little bit of a field trip there. It's not directly related to the issue at hand, although we did pay a visit to Wilson Elementary School, which is on the chopping block.
Yeah,
and yeah, you'll have to see
here or here.
It was very illuminating.
Or here, Illuminati. An Eastern syndicate controls the Rapid City Public School District.
Well, they're awfully cheap.
Well, they're just trying to get as much money out of them as they can.
No, that's kind of the thing, though, about our former home state, whatever.
Yeah.
Home state, mine? No. We had to work in the home state mines.
All of us did.
Yeah, that's right.
I was delivering sandwiches.
They bombarded us with neutrinos after that. And
that was Tom Dashiell's fault.
Yeah, that's right. Damn it.
Of all the things Tom Dashiell did for South Dakota, don't get me started about that. Oh, my God. Mm-hmm. And then they turned on him. Oh, anyway.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in another episode.
Time. But no, the one of the things about that place that's abundantly clear is that maybe it's more true in the western part of the state than the East River.
I don't know.
Sioux Empire. It's really one of these things that there's this, cheap is good enough for us mentality.
Well, anti-taxes.
Like we're not worth something that is perceived to be high quality or fancy.
Yeah. I don't think they understand investments either.
This bogus pioneer spirit thing.
Well, it's anti-tax, and
Oh yeah. It's a real cheapskate attitude, but
an investment in the future is very important, and it hurts. And some of these other laws that they're trying to pass, or even if they don't pass, they get on the news, and it hurts tourism, which hurts their money, the revenue stream, which because they don't have like property taxes and whatever else as much, or income tax.
They definitely have property taxes.
Well, where are they supposed to get the money then? If they're going to hurt their own tourism, if they're not going to legalize, they can't even legalize hemp, for Christ's sake. They can't.
Although weed's on the ballot this year, there.
Yeah, well, I know one of the people that's working for that, and
it's really interesting to see.
And God bless them.
Talk about a political horse race that's worth following. That's really interesting to me.
But there is a libertarian streak in South Dakota, and I think there could be a way to appeal to that, to get some of this, get out of my, who cares what I do at home? There must be some way to get
Phil,
into.
You'll get that though, and then they will privatize all the schools.
Yeah.
So
no, there's a
balance.
There's a balance that.
Well, we'll reflect on that, I'm sure, and
some other day
revisit. Maybe our next South Dakota native guest can help us with that.
Somebody that isn't an expat that's actually there. Well, I didn't clear this with you first, but Christy Nome is going to be our next guest on the podcast.
That would be really interesting.
We're going to spend the whole hour talking about hemp.
What are you drinking tonight, Christy? Hemp.
CBD infused seltzer water. Oh, whatever.
There you go.
God damn it! Let the farmers have anything they can.
A long
wow
intro.
And maybe it'll get shorter later on.
It better.
Oh Lord!
I'm missing hardball.
Oh no. Okay, we're done. Roll tape. Here's Bruce and John on a field expedition.
You're about to experience an expedition. An expedition through the catacombs of the underbellies of the Rapid City public school system, Rapid City, South Dakota. Notably decrepit and falling apart and waiting on a bonding referendum or some such thing for the city council to approve. Or perhaps voters will decide. Voters are an unpredictable lot, especially those whose children have grown up and learned to despise them. It isn't uncommon in nature to devour your young, especially if there's a perception that there is a lack of resources. But perhaps this is more of an issue of a distribution of resources and not a lack thereof.
All right, we're standing here in Wilson School.
We're going down the stairs here into the gym.
Yeah, we came in the back door, which is where we hoodlums came in and auto recess.
The sound you're about to hear is John's old gym, where he did his jumping jacks and flapjacks.
I did like 1.5. Wow, and we did the giant parachute in this room.
Yep.
And played cruel games of dodgeball.
Yes.
Let's see, on that side of the wall, there's the famous lunch tables that folded out of the wall. Doesn't look like they're used anymore. Probably because they would cut off your fingers or something if you...
Absolutely deemed unsafe. Safe. Yeah.
The Murphy bed style lunch tables.
And sealed them into the side of the wall.
Ah, okay. I think those may have been in use when I was here.
Oh.
50 years ago.
Yeah. Many, many fond memories. But now since the security guards are coming, since we're illegally in here,
yes.
I think
Okay, we're going to head outside.
Bruce and John are not actually in the building legally. Bruce is being facetious. Facetious means treating serious issues with deliberately inappropriate humor. Being flippant. Perhaps even tongue-in-cheek or waggish. Glib.
I don't know why.
Okay, we're going out.
Okay. All right, we escaped the security guards and ran outside.
Don't worry, they'll be here with the security footage.
Yeah. They'll be,
down here to our left.
Kindergarten still?
Kindergarten.
That's where I went to my first day of kindergarten. In this ground level, easy access to Little Caesars, Mini Mart, as it was called back in the day.
Right across the way here.
None of this loaf and jug nonsense.
And right across from the Gold Wash.
Yes, we are mere steps from the famous Gold Wash back in its heyday. I remember when the Mini Mart opened up. That was pretty exciting. And we'd sneak over there and play video games. My brother and me would do that. I obviously didn't learn anything in school.
Aye, sir.
And we're Wilson School. So tell us about what is the controversy about Wilson School right now?
Well, Wilson School is sort of beyond modernizing and repairing, and so the...
Not unlike John or Bruce or even Phil. Where is Phil, you might ask? Phil is trying to get a proboscis monkey in Borneo to do a Jimmy Durante impersonation. Cha-cha-cha.
The school board is proposing to perhaps close it down, or at least recently it was a proposal. And it's being opposed by the neighborhood groups here.
Of course.
And they
It's
also offered up as a solution to the fact that they were eliminating the school is to move all of the elementary school kids over to the alternative high school for some reason.
Alternative high school.
The alternative high school.
For alternative people?
Which is the old Central High School,
Yes.
the old Rapid City High, the old Dakota.
Where I went to junior high, and they called it in those
That's
days.
right.
Yes.
That's right.
The place has had a lot of reuse, reinvention over the years. So, it's an old building. They don't want to fix it up anymore.
They don't want to fix it up anymore. There are people who claim that
It's probably full of asbestos. And things like that.
and black mold and all kinds of nasty things. And
Clearly affected a lot of us.
yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah. I never went to elementary school here. I
thought you were going to say you never went to elementary school.
No, I never.
You
I
just
didn't
skipped it.
I didn't go to school at all, actually. But
Yeah.
what a
He
waste
got
of time.
his degree out of a Cracker Jack box. Cracker Back Jocks.
So here's
Well-
the lovely front door there.
I would be sad if they demolished this or turned it into a Bible school or whatever they sell old schools.
Indeed. Well,
Although this area is nice enough that they'd probably knock it down and put a couple of really fancy houses here.
or a mini mart.
Or a new mini mart. They could use a new mini mart. It's kind of run down because it's the same one that was built in the 70s.
Well, that's true. There have been a lot of holiday gas stations go up.
They're
around town,
invading,
and
yeah.
so this could be a prime site.
Yep. A holiday megaplex.
Megaplex there. It's got the playground equipment there and already.
Can you imagine? It'd be a recreation center with gas pumps. And
God, they probably get some kind of federal grant for that.
The dog you are listening to is a soft-coated Wheaten Terrier. Or perhaps a Finnish Spitz.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So what is our next... Where are we going next?
Right now we're going to go to Rapid City High School and go ghost hunting.
Okay. We'll be right back.
According to School Digger, Stevens High School is ranked 7th out of 134. Southwest's Middle School is ranked 5th out of 150. Pinedale Elementary is ranked 10th out of 208. That equals 492, which some consider the start of the Persian War.
So now we've moved to a new location. We're at what formerly known as Rapid City High School, Old Rapid City Central, Dakota Junior High. And now what's its official name besides the Performing Arts Center?
It is back to Rapid City High School.
It is Rapid City High School. Okay.
Yes, it is.
So, which is, of course, home to the famous Black Hills Symphony Orchestra. Trying all the doors in the cafeteria space where we used to eat such delicacies as Mexican zombies and...
Oh, here's a
like
menu
that.
right over
Well,
there.
let's see what they're serving. I bet it's a lot better than what any of us
see it.
had.
There's Mexican zombies here. Let's.
Yeah, I think maybe that was high school.
Yeah, so we had
Oh, they have walking tacos. That's a thing.
Tex-Mex walking tacos.
Uh-huh.
On Monday, smothered waffle fries.
What
and
is that all
cinnamon bread
about?
Slice.
Oh,
And of course the chicken patty sandwich.
yeah. Yeah.
Martin Luther King on the menu for the 20th.
Yeah, yeah.
Which cannibals
stuff.
around here?
There's chili burger.
Chili burger. Yes.
Yeah, you know this. Just verbally, it sounds great.
And right over here, as we're walking over towards this wall, there's an outlet over here.
Are you gonna
And
stick
when
your
I was
finger
in
in
high
it?
school,
No.
there was a big freezer here, and it had ice cream sandwiches in it,
Wow.
which were kept at a perfect temperature until one weekend.
The name is redacted.
and a couple other friends of mine. We sort of found a way into the school and crawled all around the tunnels underneath the school and came up in here. And he got a little bit hungry, so he decided he would try to open it, and of course had this lock on it, so he was very strong. So he bent the lid just enough so he could get his arm in there. And of course it would never go back to shape. But needless to say, the scandal on Monday morning of the melted ice cream bars was great.
There was riots.
Great riots.
Yeah.
Investigations.
Wow. He remains at large?
I'm
Or was he caught?
not sure if they let him out yet.
Okay. So then the slammer. That's a great story. So there were a lot in those days when it was more of a crumbling old building. There were lots of these dangerous spaces.
in the old energy plant, there was a door that had a broken out window and a piece of plywood there, and you would sort of push on it, reach in, and open the door from the inside.
High security.
Then you had to crawl through a series of tunnels and around a bunch of giant blowers in the basement.
Yeah,
it was really quite dangerous.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
That's why it was fun. Yeah. So we'll move to another area. Yeah, I'll just cut this part out. So now we're in the entryway of the old school with the old woodwork and box office where the German language club used to sell candy out of those windows. And just down the hall was the principal's office, and got further down the band room and the choir room.
That's where that music stand went.
Right outside the theater. Oh, let's go in this room.
Don't go in there, Dr. Hoses.
That is an inside joke. I apologize.
I don't know. Let's look in here some more.
of that wall was the old teacher's lounge.
Yep, sounds right. We'd walk by and peer in with envy because they had a pop machine.
I don't know.
Storage closet? Yeah.
Yeah, storage closet. No bodies in there.
Not yet.
All right, Usher place. Okay, now
Very exciting.
All right, now. All right, I know where to go when I need to borrow an Usher unit.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Can you get in here?
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine.
Okay, so here we are.
Okay,
in the
hallway.
In the hallway outside of where the principal's office was.
Yep, it was.
Which is now the men's room.
Oh, wah.
And so right now where we are is the end of the old building.
Right.
Which at one time was just a set of stairs that went up.
That's right.
It used to connect to the Washington building, which was burned down in 1968 or 69, right around there. So
Maybe that's when they decided to build Stevens.
yeah. There you go.
Like, So the sign this way leads to homebound and suspension.
Yes. We're in a different place now.
I work in the suspension department.
The school uniform included suspenders and very short shorts.
Now we're going to the new where it's part of the new area. There's the old band room is now part of an office and counseling.
Are you sure? I think this was choir. This was band.
Choir was actually up on the third floor.
Well, when I was here, it was down here.
Right, that's because you got the cheap model.
We did get the cheap model. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this was the concert band.
Yep.
When I was
Right.
so this
This eventually leads to the backstage area.
yeah, this is the backstage area. Now there's a set of stairs right there. Underneath those was the secret storage room.
Behind the back room of the band room,
Behind the back of the back room.
which had a sink in it
Yes.
and lots of music and storage and stuff.
And an antiquated copying machine, which would kick out these brown
Was it a mimeograph?
It must have been some kind of
That had that purplish, brownish, smelly ink.
Yeah, it was very smelly.
Yeah, I think we had that in grade school.
And yet not a water gong in sight.
Yeah. Vomit-colored copies it would make.
Yeah.
And underneath those stairs are still skeletons. People were walled up there.
Right.
And you were never able to rescue them when you were in junior high.
I tried. I dug several holes and skeletons.
Well, let's go up the stairs.
Yep. In the old days, you could go up the stairs and leave the building, but now it's all emergency only stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alarmed doors here. I think it's alarming, personally.
Yep.
I'm not sure what they said right there, but Bruce and John were never heard from again. Wait, I'm wrong.
Now we're up in the balcony of the old theater.
We're in the balcony.
The old new theater.
In the old
It's been
new theater.
remodeled.
So we're up in the balcony, and we're in a spot where, during the Cobbler Capers, which is the name of the variety show, that the tumbling team would jump off the balcony onto the stage, one after the other, and only one or two of them broke a leg. And those were back in the days where nobody thought anything of a broken leg, and it was okay. And they did not sue the school
Right.
very often.
Then they became homebound.
Yep, and that's where they are to this day, down in the room we just passed.
Those windows over there had like goofy colored glass in them.
Yep,
Does that sound right? Yeah, I guess weird stained.
You could.
Not anymore. But
No, we just looked not anymore. They took those out,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can. They put them. They put one of them in the old, or excuse me, in the new central. So there's a little case where you can see. the
that's
stained
nice.
glass.
And of course they retained some of the WPA chairs with the all wood seats and backs.
Yes, we are standing right next to one right now. I'm
They are
touching one.
very uncomfortable.
And I just got a splinter, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And they sold a bunch of the old ones off, and
yeah, I've got some in my on my deck.
right, they're still there.
Yeah.
People had much smaller butts in the WPA days, I think.
Well, that's right. That was during the Depression.
Right,
and so
right.
nobody had anything to eat, so they had small butt sizes. Well, shall we go hunting for ghosts?
Let's go. We'll be right back. What was that?
I don't know. They say this place is haunted.
Shit.
Bruce and John were never heard from again. Wait, I'm wrong.
So, Bruce, where are we?
We're in the Brass Rail, and what are you drinking in the Brass Rail?
I'm drinking a Crispin cider.
Crispin cider.
Named after Crispin Glover, a famous actor who's much beloved in South Dakota.
Okay, well, I'm having a mango cream ale.
These are both pretty fruity
Yeah,
things we're drinking here.
Yeah, they are.
Not our normal whiskeys. I'm going to have some of that later. But
Yeah. Well, I had thought that maybe I would have a mixed drink here. That's usually what I have in a bar. But I was reading about the Brass Rail and the fact that they were right after Prohibition. They opened up as a beer hall with a handful of original bars, and they're still going to this day. I think the same family still runs the place.
Probably not affiliated with the Brass Rail Lounge in Minneapolis. And its mail review.
could be.
So I'm liking the mango beer. Usually I don't like fruity beers.
Right. Well, we've narrowly escaped from the haunted school and
Thank God.
ran for our lives. We made it.
Need a stiff drink after that.
Yeah. Or a cider.
Yeah, cider. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Because like I didn't have a till, I just happened to know where an extra seat in the front
Well.
was. Like,
Are we done?
We're done.
Okay. Sayonara.
Bruce and John were never heard from again.
Here's the song!
I hear some people knocking my old home state. Though the faces and places are both still great. Something's changed over the years, laws and bills based on hidden fear. They get some people wondering what went wrong. They're putting the South in South Dakota. If you're not like them, look to Minnesota. They care about your freedom, not one iota. Don't put the South in South Dakota. Midwest family values, work hard and live and let live. What you do in your own home, I've got no rats to give. Farmers and ranchers work damn hard, but politicians sniff around your backyard. They sure have a lot of time to kill. They're putting the South in South Dakota. If you're not like them, look to Minnesota. They care about your freedom, not one iota. Don't put the South in South Dakota. Do you really want to outlaw hemp? Is this still the party of old Jack Kemp? A bleeding heart conservative, trying to help people, not telling them how to live. This kind of bullshit is not manure. Nothing will grow from this. A lot of money from outside, some with a Russian kiss. Religious freedom isn't only for the straight and right. Can't we all work together